Hey everyone, I'm Jason, and this is Inside Board Games. Today we are talking to Breeze Grigas, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. Hey Breeze, how you doing today?
Hey man, I'm doing great.
We're going to be talking about Zephyr Workshop. We're going to be talking about AEGIS. We're going to be talking about the grind of publishing a game for um, you're kind of a veteran or a mature entrepreneur, so to
Yes,
speak, a mature. I'll have to workshop that one.
entrepreneur. Yeah, that
Yes,
word, pretty
yes.
good.
Tell me about. Let's talk about Zephyr Workshop. I'd like to know about because that's the publishing. Um, Aegis is published under Zephyr Workshop.
Yes. Well, Zephyr Workshop is basically me, and my friends. But yeah, I started like this company like a long time ago, like kind of like out of college.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's kind of just been something I've been continuing ever since. Like we do, not only we make Aegis, but we also sometimes do like contract work for other publishers, and we fit on like weird things like web development and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's a great it's great having your own kind of business because like I'm in the games field and layoffs are very rampant. So it's always good to just have something that you're always doing like because an average job is like ephemeral.
Uh-huh.
So that's like kind of like so that's kind of like what it's been. We've been making Aegis since the start of Zephyr Workshop, but yeah, right
Mhm.
along we've done a couple different things, and it's always just kind of been the thing I've fallen back on. And in the last like quite large chunk of years, it's kind of been my main thing. Yeah.
Gotcha. Where are you at? Where are you joining me from today?
I'm in Seattle. I'm originally from Massachusetts, uh, but yeah, I've been in Seattle for a while now.
What took you out there? Just the work out there?
Work.
Like, what's your background then? What kind of things are you into when you're not doing game design?
Yeah, well, my background is I went to game design college, and I guess
Okay.
this is like the bit I've been committing to for my adult life. And
Board games or video games or both?
uh, video games initially because it's like that's how what most of the game design degrees are kind of focused on. But I think
Right.
more and more now, people realize that making board games is cool.
Hmm.
But yeah, so like I originally went to college to be like a character artist. And then
Okay.
I kind of realized like, oh, actually, I like character. I don't like the illustrating part. I like the designing part, and that kind of like branched out to like, well, I actually like designing everything else too. So I like
Okay.
planning and spreadsheets and tackling things from different angles and considering user experience and things like that.
Right.
Um, and then yeah, I watch cartoons on my free time.
What was your favorite cartoon?
That's a good question. I don't know. Uh, uh, I watch a lot of giant robot shows
Yeah.
as influenced by my game. Um, so yeah, a lot of stuff like that. Watch a lot of anime. I watch a lot of animated movies. I kind of dig into it quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
a Demon Slayer fan myself.
yep, yep, yep. Yeah, no,
Assassination Classroom from, I guess, back in the day.
oh no, don't say that.
That was like one of my first when because I have a son who was
Yeah.
into anime. I mean, I was into anime like way back when, but I didn't really realize like what it was. But like Assassination Classroom was like the first thing that he's like, "Oh, Dad, you got to check this out." And it's like, "Oh, this is awesome." And it's like everyone that I talked to, like after I saw it for the first time, like 5, 6 years ago, they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that's so old." I'm like,
It's so old.
New to me,
Oh my
whatever."
God.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I've been watching a lot of random stuff from like the 90s lately, which I guess has like it's kind of funny. Stuff that came out in the early 2000s is old, but then it's not old enough to be classic or retro. So
Right.
liking 90s and 80s stuff right now is actually cool, but liking stuff from like 2009 or 2012 is like ew. But give it like
Oh.
another like 10 years and be like, "Oh, Assassination Classroom, that retro classic."
Retro classic. Yes.
It all comes in cycles.
So is that so where you got your design for or your design ideas for Aegis from am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, Aegis, Aegis, Haggis, doesn't
Oh,
matter.
not haggis.
But but yeah, no. So yeah, I watched a lot of robot shows and Power Rangers and Voltron and stuff growing up and Transformers, and that kind of like, I guess, brain poisoned me into like not being a doctor or something useful. So I ended up just like being like, I'm gonna do robot game when I'm an adult. Um, so that was pretty cool.
I get a
Then yeah.
I get a Voltron, yes, but also I get sort of a Battle of the Planets
Oh
vibe
yeah.
a little bit from the art on this game and Aegis.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just like lots of bright colors, cool characters and poses, funny costumes. It's
Yeah.
it's hitting a lot of those vibes, which was definitely intentional because we wanted to like make something like evocative of the genre, but not just like this is just like a fan fiction or like a like a
Mhm.
facsimile of it. Uh, it's like Aegis's like art style and world building are pretty unique, but they do have like you look at it and you're like, oh, this feels familiar.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So that was very intentional. Uh, red, blue, green, purple, yellow. Everything everything in the game is red, blue, green, purple, yellow.
Right. Well, let's get into I mean, tell me about Aegis itself. I don't want to da keep dancing around. I'd kind of
Oh
like to
yeah.
get into the meat of the game and the gameplay.
Yep.
Um, and then we'll talk a little more about the ancillary stuff.
Yep. So yeah, no, it's been all right. So yeah, I make Aegis. It's a robot game. It's a 30-minute tactical board game. You might pop up a JPEG, but it looks like this. It's backwards. But yeah, the 30-minute tactics game, it's made to be like a faster, more accessible, more affordable version of like BattleTech or Warhammer. Because
Hmm.
instead of like 4 hours, it's 30 minutes. Instead of buying like a million boxes of miniatures, it's all in one box. You don't need to buy like any huge expansions. Like every 5 seconds, we don't make you buy a new rule book every year.
Thank you.
Um, yes. So it actually the Aegis originally came about because I was traumatized by the concept of Warhammer. Um, because I like, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Aegis robot game. There's 5 different types of robots you can use: assault, evasive, guard, intel, support. Spells Aegis. And you choose a team of 5 robots, and you can combine them together throughout the game to make bigger robots. So you take your A robot and your E robot, you put them together, and you make an AE robot, and then that robot can assault and it can evade, and then you can put even 3 or 4, or even all 5 of your robots together to make like Voltron. And
Oh,
there's just
okay.
like 100 unique robots in the box, so there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
Uh, so we give you content. It's definitely been like a game in the making for a while. And it's also not only that, the new game, Aegis Second Ignition, the teal box.
There it is.
Um,
There it is.
yeah, the teal box is new. This is Aegis 2. The first game, Aegis 1, is red and blue, and there's 100 robots in this one too. So you could own one without the other, but if you own both, you have 200 robots.
That's a lot of
Um,
replayability.
oh yeah, and then like lots of like it really hits the type of person who just wants to like splay out all the cards and like theory craft and all these teams and
Mm,
stuff, and
yeah.
like there's a lot of attention to detail, and there's a lot of different options, but there's also like a draft mode and stuff. So if you ever want to like just play the game, you can just be like, all right, let's draft some teams. There's pre-built teams in the box. Let's choose some pre-built teams and just slap them on the board real quick.
And you have a lot of
Uh,
like pre-made scenarios too, don't you? Or is that the team?
yeah. So yeah, like yeah, the game, all 100 robots are sorted into pre-built teams, so you can always just choose a character and go. And then we have a scenario book also, sold separately, that fits inside the box, and that also the Aegis 2 book, because Aegis 1 book has a book and Aegis 2 has a book.
Okay.
Aegis 2's book, you can do a 10 game 2 player campaign where you fight with some cool little rules, and then you draft
Hmm.
some robots, and you kind of build up your teams and options over time. And
Oh,
that's
okay.
actually like it's kind of like a video game campaign where it'll show you most of the stuff in the box. So if you play through the whole campaign, you get to see like everything, and it's pretty neat.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so we the game has like a lot of stuff in it, and we had a lot of considerations of how can we have players like experience it in kind of different ways and actually see all of it and for it to matter. So yeah, pre-built teams, draft mode, scenarios,
The
stuff
scenarios are
like
pretty
that.
interesting because it sets
Yeah,
things up that people might not encounter just in out in the wild, while they're playing maybe. So that sort of says, hey, this can happen too, which is kind of cool.
yeah. And like the scenarios are all pretty like straightforward to set up too. It's just like it's this many players, use these teams. Here are these special rules, and that's kind of it. And it shows you what like board to play on because the game has like three different battlefields.
Okay.
Um, and so yeah, like also general usability was a big thing too. It's like I want you to be playing the game and not like screwing around with the pieces,
Sure.
which I think is like a lot of like larger, denser board games kind of run into. You'll see like some of
Yeah.
them are like, oh, this is a game that takes up like an entire table, and you'd have to spend 3 hours setting it up and breaking it down, and the scenario pages are like 3 pages long, and you have to
Yeah.
like spend all this time putting the map together. It's like, no, 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 no.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
pain. I enjoy some games like that, but you know, I tend to purposely show up late to game night on those nights so I don't have to sit there through all the setup. It's like, oh, it's
yep.
crazy. Trev, oh, you're all set up. Awesome. Well, let's start playing.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, the setup in board games is like one of the biggest like points of friction. So, with each new Aegis iteration, we kind of like try to trim it down a bit.
Mhm.
Because the first game you could set the board up with like these terrain wall tiles and you can kind of like customize the battlefield.
Mhm.
But in Aegis 2, we just have like a cool transforming three-sided board. And you just choose one of the three maps and you slap it on the table and you can go immediately. Um,
Okay,
so
so
yeah, like I was looking
okay.
for ways to like just make setup faster and easier.
Mhm.
Um,
Right.
yeah,
So the Aegis 2, it doesn't have like the terrain tiles that
yeah,
block your way. Um,
yeah. No, it has like the one that they're pre-printed on the board.
oh, okay,
Um,
gotcha.
so yeah, yeah. And then you can play Aegis 2 robots on the Aegis 1 board and vice versa. So now it's technically if you have both boxes, you have five boards to play on. Um, and so yeah, it's all like just kind of intuitively cross-compatible in that way.
How many people can play? I know
Oh
that.
yeah, that's right. Two to four out of the box, and there's a really good solo mode, and there's a big six-player mat you can get. So the technical answer is 1 to 6.
Oh,
Very modular, and at larger player counts, you can do teams, so you can do like 2v2 or 3v3 or whatever.
can you
Um,
play six just a battle royale, or does that?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's actually what we're running at Gen Con. We always use Gen Con as like, let's play six-player games because those don't happen any other time of year. So all of
Sure.
our events on the Gen Con event page are all six-player stuff.
Okay. Cool. So you mentioned Gen Con. How long have you been going to Gen Con?
This will be It's not going to be my 10th because my first one was in 2015,
Hmm.
but I skipped one or two in the middle there. This will probably be like my eighth or ninth Gen Con. It's going to be like the fourth-ish one for like Aegis specifically, but
Okay.
we've been doing Aegis events and stuff there since 2015, I think, because yeah, we originally signed on with the publisher Greenbrier Games. They brought us in 2015, 2016, also maybe 2017. I can't even remember.
Okay.
And yeah, there was like we did Aegis events there and we were showing off the game at their booth and we got our first booth for Aegis in like 2018 when the game actually like came out. Um and then yeah, we've been trapped going back ever since because if you give up your booth, you can't ever come back.
You gotta sell it.
So
You sell
we're
it, sell it and retire.
Yeah, honestly though, just saw the Gen Con booth property rates are skyrocketing.
Yeah. I do other conventions too. I mean, PAX, Origins.
Oh yeah, so we do all the PAXs
Oh, okay.
because I live next to PAX West and I used to live next to PAX East, so those are very easy for me to
Oh,
do.
nice.
And then we also do PAX Unplugged every year. We have not been to PAX Australia yet.
Oh, okay.
But the so yeah, we do all three PAXs and we always do Gen Con. And those are kind of like our major shows that dot our calendar each year. We did do Origins this year. Um, we'll figure out if we want to do Origins more or less.
Hmm.
It's a very distant third in the size comparison between Gen Con and PAX. And this year we had like a
Yeah.
really good spot. We were showing off the game through Japanime Games.
Okay.
And it was still kind of desolate.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, no, it was a really good place to, it's a great thing to go to as like a player, I think. And there's like all sorts of fun events and it's chill. But like as an exhibitor, we haven't had like incredible luck. We've done like okay,
Hmm.
but like not nearly as to the extent of like Gen Con and PAX is the way where we make giant chunks of money every year.
I mean, if you're going to load up a truck and take a ton of stock and commit to that time, I mean, you really got
Yeah,
a lot of people going through there, and it's got
yeah.
to really be worth your while. It's tough to get a good ROI on going to these conventions. I would imagine if you're a publisher or designer.
Yeah, it's basically impossible. I really lucked out by the virtue of living next to PAX and having friends near East, because yeah, that's like, paying for the hotel or whatever is like the big, is
Yeah.
hotel, booth, and travel are like your three biggest things that you have to spend on.
Hmm.
And like Gen Con kind of sucks because I have to pay for all three of those things, and that really cuts into the profit margins. But there's so many people at Gen Con that it's kind of still worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Um,
massive.
but
Gen
like,
Con's
yeah, yeah,
Gen Con's nice because we can drive there from. I'm in the Detroit area.
yep,
And I've got family that lives that moved out there and that live there, so the housing isn't anything. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's
we get really
perfect.
lucky. So Gen Con is like our default, and we're kind of like
Mhm.
for the we'd like to go to PAX, but now we're now we're gonna have to it's farther travel. We're gonna have to find a place to stay, and
Yeah,
those considerations pop up.
yeah, Unplugged is very worth it though. I think it's my favorite convention overall. I don't know if you have you been to Unplugged?
No, I've not.
It's so good. It's so good. Um, Mainly because the convention center is in like the dead middle of Chinatown, and then also it's
Okay.
attached to the Reading Terminal Market, so like the food options are like insane.
Oh.
I go to PAX Unplugged to eat. I don't actually care about the convention. We
But it's
also
just
do
sort of
pretty good sales there, and it's fun to go there.
yeah.
But like, yeah, no, the food options are wild. It's so good.
Yeah, it's sort of the opposite at Gen Con. Food is like,
Yeah, the restaurants keep shutting down. Every time I find a good restaurant in Indianapolis, it's gone by the next year.
yeah,
Uh,
I don't want to wait.
Regrettably.
I don't want to wait an hour and a half in a line for a food truck, and
Yeah, and then you're roasting at like 1,000 degrees and humidity, and it's like, ugh.
yeah. But I mean, it's great. Gen Con folks, we love you.
Yep. Love Gen Con. I love going to Gen Con. Favorite time of year, Gen Con.
So you had mentioned that the game is a fast game, and I was really surprised to
Yeah.
see because it looks like a game that's going to be a little bit um, beefier. But I mean, if you can knock one of these out, what's the starting end time? Was it said half hour, or was it? Do you advertise like
Like,
15 minutes as the
no, no, it's like, yeah, it's like 30, 40
okay.
minutes, sometimes
Okay,
20 minutes, but like it usually floats around like the 30 to 40 minute range.
which is a
It's
great.
for two players. It's like 15 minutes per player. So like a four-player game will be like an hour. Six-player game will be like an hour and a half to 2 hours, which is the block that we cut out for Gen Con
Okay, that's
events.
good. That's a good
Yeah,
time,
no, it's yeah.
especially for a competitive game. I
Mhm.
mean, I always say, people that watch our stuff, I'm like a broken record, but if I'm going to play a competitive game, if I'm going to get my butt kicked, I don't want to sit there for 3 hours and die a
Yeah.
slow death. you
Yeah,
know.
I know. The game becomes pretty decisive at like a point. And yeah, we wanted just it quick, feel good, play 2 games, play 3 games in
Yeah,
like a sitting. It's kind of the idea because the game has so much stuff in it that it's like you want to like be testing out like different things. Well, I want to try this team now. I want to do this robot. I want to switch out this guy. I want to try something different. I want to play on a different board. And it's like we want you to be able to do that like a couple of times in a sitting. Um,
because there's so much. There's different kinds of robots and different combinations, and the more you get to experiment with it, just the more fun it's going to be.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's the deeper you dig, the better it gets. It's like there's so much cool stuff like in the box.
So, how different is the game from when you first kind of conceived it? Because I think on your website, I saw dates back to 2013 for like the genesis of the first prototypes, like stuff. Like, how different is it now? And you just came out with the second ignition. You know,
Yeah.
how much has it evolved from kind of where you thought it was going to be?
Um, yeah, no, it's been a while. Uh, the first like iterations of the game were like, we hand made it and like brought
Oh,
it to
okay.
like Podunk, like local conventions and with like 10 copies and it was like hand glued together pieces and hand glued together boxes and like dice ordered from Amazon and it was it's it's like a lot like the game physically has changed very very dramatically because it looks like a real game now
Of course, yeah.
and in terms of like how it's like evolved as we've gotten better at being designers it's like I've taken more and more stuff off the card over time. I've made the game easier to read over time.
Oh, okay.
Um, I've the board used to be bigger in that there used to be like 5 bajillion hexes on it, and
Oh,
then
okay.
that's like because like I feel like that's like a trap that a lot of like people making this type of game fall into. It's just like, well, what if all the numbers were really big and there was also a million hexes, and over time you realize that the strategic decision of moving guys around and positioning them is not made more interesting by there being more hexes.
Yeah,
So I
sometimes
keep
less is
making them
more.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, less is always more. Says the guy who I keep putting 100 robots in the box. But but yeah, we keep sandpapering like some of the stuff like that. So we can keep the same amount of content, but make the content easier to parse and better to play. I did a lot of the art for Aegis 1, like
Mhm.
myself. And then in Aegis 2, we had money. So I
Mhm.
got to hire a really, really talented team of artists.
Oh, cool.
Um, and so Aegis 2 looks really nice compared to Aegis 1. Aegis 1 still looks good. I'm very proud of how Aegis 1 looks. But Aegis 2 is like, oh wow, look how these robot designs are so cool. And I still do
Yeah.
like all the concept stuff for it, but yeah, the final illustrations are way beyond what I could do.
Yeah,
Um,
I like the mech robot anime like
oh yeah,
genre and stuff. It's so cool. In fact, I was at Gen Con a couple years ago and I played a game and it
it was Giga Robo,
was it
was it? That's
was
just
that
me
was
guessing. There's only like 4 games like this.
well it was one where the game wasn't great, but afterwards I'm like, I got to find this anime though because it sounds like a really cool story. I don't remember
Oh,
what
was it
it was.
actually based on an anime?
I think it was. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's probably a Japanime game. Yeah, that's par for the course.
Yeah. But uh, so yeah, I mean the genre is cool, and I do love the art on the on that. And that that's such a big part of drawing people in. Is you got to have got to have good art, and I think a lot of people might sort of discount it a little bit. They want mechanics and they want
Yeah,
expansions and things like that. But I like a good art.
I also really like games with cool art, not just like high fidelity fancy art, but like a really cool like art direction.
Hmm.
I bought this game recently called Atlay. That's like a deck builder territory control game. It has some like solid sixes and sevens on Board Game Geek. But
Yeah,
like,
okay.
it's like I was like thinking like, well, is this game I was looking at it and I was doing research, is like what makes a fun board game? Is it playable and easy to set up and, by the end you feel like no one cheated? Is that actually peak board game design? And like I really like the art style. It's like very unique and different, but very sharp. Uh so I was like, oh, I gotta get that to the table. But like, and then there's another space game that just came out that everyone's very gaga
Um,
over. It has like a white box.
SETI,
Um,
Last Light, Arc.
no, it's like I want to say it's not like it's not Endogenesis. That's a different game, but it has like a longer, it has a multi-syllable title like that. It's like a
Oh,
space.
okay.
It's a spaceshipy space game, and I think it's made by Devere, maybe like some European thing. It was a hotness at Origins. It was like a new release there.
Oh, okay.
Um, Also has a really really cool art style. I really like games that like take a genre like sci-fi and like, oh, okay, we can do something a little bit different with it. Let's do some. Let's hire a character artist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like one of my
Um,
favorite part of games is, I'll enjoy a game just for the art sometimes,
oh yeah,
if it's good enough.
oh, and Arcs too. Arcs too is like everything that Leader makes is really cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I like art styles, characters, and stuff.
So you've been, we've talked about some dates in the past. You've been doing this for a while. Um, you've been doing this through COVID and through tariffs. Talk a little bit about your, kind of perspective as to how the industry has changed, and how you've navigated that.
Yeah. So yeah, what happened? I paid for I finalized our printing numbers and our printing costs late last year, like in the fall, right?
Hmm.
Like, so I gave all the final files to the factory around July last year. And then I was like, this will be done soon. And then it wasn't. And we just had to like go back and forth a million times and stuff. But yeah, no, I finally like we printed, okay, we're gonna print like this many thousand of this many thousand of that. And there's like a
Hmm.
whole litany of things because there's not just there's two Aegis boxes, we have like seven other SKUs, little dinky expansions and accessories and the six-player mat and the books and all that. So it was like a very big chunk of stuff to get delivered. I don't know how these other companies do it with their like refrigerator sized deliveries. But yeah, no, this was definitely the biggest thing I've ever done because there was like, yeah, like 9 or 10 SKUs. But yeah, so finalized our numbers in fall, and then come spring, homies like tariffs, and we're like, well, that's not in the budget because I've
Right.
already paid for the printing, and so now I'm just being charged an extra $9,000. Cool. And
Yeah.
then we finally got the stupid games on a boat. And the same day that Liberation Day happened,
Mhm.
um, and so that was terrifying because that was the day where he's like, no, it's not 10%, it's not 20%. We're gonna go up and it's gonna be like 30. No, it's actually 50. No, it's actually 90. No, it's actually 100. No, it's actually 150. And like this is like the day my thing left. And normally how tariffs work is you just get charged when it shows up. If the tariff changes while you're on the water, traditionally you just get owned and you just pay whatever it is when it shows up. So I'm thinking like, did my boat just leave and now I'm going to get 150% tariff on a $50,000 bill?
Jeez.
Um,
And
so there was a period of time where I thought my life was irreparably destroyed because if I got a $75,000 bill, I did not have that money, and there was no way for me to get that money.
right, because everybody
So,
everybody knows that if a country has a tariff imposed on them, they're not paying a dime. They're
oh
just
yeah, no, China's gonna pay for it, bro. Did you hear him?
yeah. I
It's
mean,
all
so
fine. Why isn't China paying for it? But yeah, no. So there was a period of time there where I thought I was just like I was just cooked. I didn't know what to do. I was talking to my warehouse guy. He's just like, my warehouse guy's like, look, man, if that happens, what we're gonna do is we're just not gonna take the games. We're not gonna take the games at all, and they're gonna go to auction, and then we're gonna go buy the games at auction. And that's like the cockamamie
Uh,
crap that I was about to be able to deal with. But
yeah.
then like after 2 days after Liberation Day, he like is like they release like the actual rules, and they're like things shipped out before like the 5th or the 9th or whatever are still on the 20%, which is different from how tariffs normally work. So that's good.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, so maybe I'll only be paying $9,000, but then throughout the whole process, the 3 week or so month long process it takes for my stuff to get across the water.
Hmm.
Um, the numbers kept flying up and down, the rules kept changing. And so, technically he could just change those rules at any time. Like the rules don't mean anything until I get a bill. So,
Right.
I just kind of lost a month of my life to anxiety, just like not even knowing what's going to happen. And then, and so it shows up. We get the $9,000 bill. Luckily, like my backers were very understanding, and we kind of like did like some sales and some gimmicks and stuff to like recoup a good majority of that. Um,
Hmm.
and so thank God for Aegis backers, the best people in the world.
How long?
And
Go ahead.
And then, but yeah, and then conversely, our friends over at Solus Game Studio who make the game Pocket Paragons, their game shipped out a week after the cutoff, and
Ouch.
they were on the water going to LA, and they missed the tariffs on the other side, where they arrived 3 a.m. the day the tariffs went down to 30%. So
Ooh.
I missed it on one side of it. They missed it on the other side of it. And 20 and 30% is still a big chunk of change. That's like a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's like at least one or two people in the board game industry whose stuff arrived in the middle of that, and they're just screwed forever. Like they just got annihilated with some like 20, 30, 50, $100,000 $200,000 bill for some of these guys. Like I think like
Yeah.
Gloomhaven guys were like, "This is $1 million tariff bill," and I'm like, "Oh God."
Yeah. I mean, a lot of companies got hit really, really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like we're like myself and the Solus, we're printing at like small, reasonable like indie numbers, but like these other bigger publishers that are printing like 10, 20, 50, 100,000 copies of their game coming over, it's like you get tariffed on that, and it's like whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Um,
How long
yeah,
was yours
so
in? How long was yours in Kickstarter? How long did it take to
uh
get through
let's
that?
see. Well, yeah, we the Kickstarter for Aegis 2 and the reprint and all the other stuff was in early 2023. And it took me like forever to finish the game. So it was like 2 years before the game finally is actually out now. And it's actually kind of like 2.5 years because now the game is finally finishing fulfillment in the very last territories for backers. So
So
it took quite a while.
yeah,
I
although
thought the game was mostly done when we kickstarted it, but then I was just wrong. It's like, well, I need to redo this, I need to do that. I'll
uh,
just redo a little bit of Aegis 1. I ended up, opening up every single Aegis 1 file and redoing them and making them nicer. And
that
it's
time
like,
frame doesn't seem crazy. I mean, I've
yeah,
experienced myself a lot of Kickstarters and bet a lot longer than that.
yeah. And
So
it's like it was a long time. I feel like a little ashamed that it took so long, but it was also like a tremendous amount of stuff, and I kind of
mhm.
did it all myself. And it all came out, and there's like a very minimal amount of typos and embarrassing things. So I think we did a pretty good job overall.
Yeah, and
Um,
I'm not advocating that 2.5 years be the norm. Everyone out there who's watching this, and
yeah.
I'm not saying that's good, but I'm just saying that it's there's a lot that are more than that, and
Oh yeah.
and it's not like you're just, if there's improvements to be made, if you're gonna have I'll wait longer if there's a better game that comes out on the other end, and it sounds like
Yeah.
that's what you were doing, is you're making a better game coming out on the other end, and
Yeah.
that's fine.
I was very obsessively like, well, this stuff's gonna like stick around for, dozens or hundreds of years, so it better be perfect. So it's like,
Exactly.
um, Yeah, right. So yeah, no, I put a lot of attention into making the games.
Mhm. Well, usually I ask like what's next, but you're just trying to catch your breath after the release of, you're just celebrating the release of the second ignition.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to ask you what's next because I think this is it for a little bit, right? Mm.
Aegis 3.
Oh, Aegis 3?
Um,
Okay.
so we have it. You just got to hit the ground running. We actually have some. The first time anyone will be able to play the early, probably extremely jank prototypes of Aegis 3 is going to be this year at Gen Con in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay.
so we have like three special events on the event catalog for 6 players, and it is certainly the first time these prototypes are going to be played at 6 players or multiplayer in general. So we're going to learn a lot. And I'm a big advocate of like doing these events and stuff.
Okay.
Uh, because that's where we're going to learn like the most about the game and like the mechanics that we're trying to do is just throwing them into the fire and having like real people and like real players like play around with them.
Okay.
Um,
I love the
and
ambition. I mean, two just
Yep.
released, and now you're, already working on
Yeah,
three,
well,
and
on
it's
my schedule, it's going to take 5 years for 3 to come out. So,
yeah, but we'll enjoy it at Gen Con. I'll have this video
yeah,
out
right.
before Gen Con, so
So yeah, no, anyone who gets to play just 3 at Gen Con, you're getting the ultimate preview because this game's not coming out until forever. Um, Hopefully sooner because I want to do like 50 robots this time, but I'm not gonna lie to myself. I'm probably just gonna end up doing 100 again because I'm an idiot. But like, but yeah, this time I have a pretty solid plan, and that's why I said after Aegis 1, I'm like, oh, I know how to make an Aegis. I did it once. Making the second will be easier, and then it kind of like fumbled the plan. But this time I'm like, I'm gonna build 50 robots. I'm gonna build 50 robots, A, B, and then we're gonna build that chunk, and I know exactly what I need to do. There's not gonna be any weird uh publishing surprises that will change it. So yeah, no, I'm pretty excited though. We have some pretty cool new ideas
and tariffs
that I've
can't
been
get any
wanting to put
worse.
into the game. Oh yeah,
The tariffs
that's
will
the other
never
thing
get
too. It's just
worse.
like I'm not worried about the tariffs because by the time we kickstart and then by also the time we deliver, like by the time, especially by the time we deliver, we're like Aegis will deliver after this guy like falls over. Like he's old, and like
Yeah.
unless he gets his coveted third term, I think we'll be okay. I'm sure the tariffs will return to normal eventually.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
because yeah, I don't plan on making an entire game and shipping it within the next 3 years. Maybe completing it and maybe completing a Kickstarter before he's out, but like the shipping just realistically won't happen until at least 2028.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah,
just
this should
yeah,
be far enough out.
yeah,
So what's the best way for people to connect with you guys and to get your game or your new game? And by the way, you know, I like that you keep coming out with these new, iterations, but yet they're compatible with each other.
yeah,
It's not just like uh a weird expansion that takes things in a totally different direction.
yeah,
It sounds like you're taking your core, which is good, and then just kind of growing that. And there's some certain games out there. I love Carcassonne. I love that game, but I only play the base. I mean, all the
yeah.
expansions I put on just totally changes the whole heart of the game. Then it sounds like
I see.
you're not
Yeah, no,
you're staying
it's
true to the heart of the game.
yeah, no, it's that's definitely a big thing. Like each Aegis box is kind of like a new like set of Pokemon in a way.
Uh,
And but the core of the game does not change, even though the Aegis 1 and Aegis 2 feel different because like just the different mechanics and the different stuff we put into it,
mhm,
but they are delivering the same experience. And that is a big thing. So, it'll continue with Aegis 3. We have like a couple new twists we want to put on it. But the goal is, yeah, we want to do like it's the same, but different because we
mhm.
also don't want to create a situation where it's like, well, I already have Aegis 1 and 2. Why would I want 3? Well, you're going to want 3 because we're going to do enough. very different. It's going to feel very different to play, and we're going to
Yeah.
have enough new features and stuff inside of it to make you want it. Like Aegis 2 added the solo mode and like the smaller boards and lots of new cool abilities that you do stuff with, like combining the cool part of the game. Um,
Yeah. So
and yeah,
so if you liked Aegis 1 and 2, you're gonna love Aegis 3.
or if you've never played either Aegis 1 and 2 before, you can get Aegis 3. So that's the other thing too. We want every new Aegis to feel like you don't have to be pressured to owning or playing any of the previous ones.
Yeah.
But you'll still see, but if you do, you'll see some nice little continuations of like themes and mechanics and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so that's like that's like that's a challenge. That's the challenge of Aegis, but like yeah, I'm pretty proud of how Aegis 2 came out for sure.
Hmm. So people that don't want to wait for Aegis 3, what's the best way for them to get to do you know, by direct? Are you on a reseller?
We are gonna be in some stores, apparently. I just signed a distribution deal yesterday. I don't know what that looks like, but the real answer is if you would like to give me money so that I can afford to eat and make more Aegis games,
Yeah.
you should go to robotstrategygame.com and just buy from our web store. And right now we're still on the BackerKit pre-order store, but that URL will change to our Square store eventually when I fix it. Right now the BackerKit prices are actually very cheap. They are going up. Uh, they're still like the Kickstarter prices from like 2 years ago. So if you would like to get Aegis at a time walked discount, um, go to robotstrategygame.com and pick up some stuff. Uh, and then yeah, moving forward, you'll be able to get it at conventions from our web store, hopefully through at game stores. Some game stores already carry it, like a couple here and there.
Are you gonna
And
have a
then
bunch of copies at Gen Con for people?
oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna hopefully have just a ton of copies at Gen Con. We're hopefully gonna sell a ton of copies at Gen Con. It's gonna be great. Um, I yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll do great.
Awesome. Well, Breeze, thanks a lot for taking the time and talking to me and telling everyone about Aegis. And we will see you hopefully at Gen Con.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'll see you guys in Indiana.
That's it for this edition of Inside Board Games. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.